Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spell Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Runner, and we will cover this week's X-Men books as well as our the latest tie-in to Last Annihilation and the most recent tie-ins to War of the Bounty Hunters. Moving on now to this week's Avengers titles and Spider-Man titles. Is that right? Yes. Kicking things off, we got Black Widow number 11, which I'm just going to say, that is quite possibly the best cover of any of the books I picked up this week. And you know what? I'm glad that the Black Widow book is as damn good as it is, because I wouldn't feel bad then about buying these, because I feel kind of bad about buying these just for the amazing Adam Hughes covers. Anyways, where we left off, Black Widow, Yelena Belova, and as well as their allies, Aranya, and I actually don't remember, and Lucy, took on a local crime boss in San Francisco by the name of Apogee. Apogee was giving people powers, and those powers were burning their bodies out. Lucy was one of the people he gave powers to, and she got electric powers, which during the final fight with Apogee, her powers manifested hardcore, and she's kind of stuck with them. So, and seemingly, Apogee was defeated. So the issue begins with Aranya and Lucy training. Yelena remarks that Natasha's being kind of distant, but she does have some, and here's a point, man. We were we're spies. Opening up to people isn't exactly, second nature to us. But yeah. So she goes to a cobbler. And for some information, and she gives him a picture of James and Stevie. Seemingly, I from the sound of it sounds like she at least wants to know where they are. If you recall from in the first arc, her husband, her fiance, and their son were believed to have been killed, but with the help of Winter Soldier, were placed far away, where not even Natasha can find them. Anyway, but Cobbler does pass on a bit of information concerning Apogee. Basically, that they speak with with two people known as the Twins. They're part of a group that's it's like equal parts old-timey freak show and modern-day Cirque du Soleil. So we find that they meet the Twins. Turns out the Twins kind of finish each other's sentences. But they get into a fight with Yelena and Natasha. Turns out that the Twins share mass with one another. So one can appear to be, just like shredded and super jacked, while the other one appears to be almost emaciated. But so they opt to focus on they knock out one and focus on the other who together, and so the one they focus on basically keeps on adding mass and before realizing that by being so big, they're almost killing the other. So, but the twins pass along what they know of Apogee. Currently, he did survive, and there are other things going on that relate to him and involve him, but that he's not in control of. And Natalia just kind of beat herself up for having missed things, basically. But after Natasha and Yelena leave, the twins call a contact and tell them to expect something that the two of them have sent. Two somethings, or rather, someones. Natasha and Yelena, and that is where the issue ends. Like I was saying earlier, Black Widow is one of the best books Marvel's putting out right now, and it is consistently great. So yeah, as this is the first part of a new arc, it does have the usual constraints of, oh yes, you know, you do really get that feeling of not knowing what's going on. The shadowy character answering the phone call from the twins. It's like, okay, who is it? You know, the dropped hints about things that will unfold throughout the issue, or throughout the arc, so on and so forth. But otherwise, it's still good storytelling, and by continuing on other plot points from earlier arcs, namely, how Natasha feels about her family, so to speak, and also, showing, things like Aranya staying with them, Lucy staying with them. Sadly, Kate Bishop is not, though. Kate Bishop's made a single issue appearance, and well, yeah, that's it. For now, at least. Probably going to be getting guest spots. And to be fair, it makes sense with the Hawkeye series coming up. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Iron Man number 12. Where we left off in Iron Man, who is excuse me, and Avro X defeated Siltman on a mysterious alien planet that Siltman was kind of sort of controlling but he was leading them, but he was also being manipulative, and yeah. But the Lunar Tribunal showed up and teleported Iron Man and Avro to Ta-2, Galactus' world ship. Also, it should be noted that Iron Man is high off his ass on friggin' morphine at this point. So, Tony and Avro are dealing with the defenses of Ta-2. It's remarked that at least Galactus isn't there because, well, they know it. And it looks like they end up having to deal with a new version of the Punisher Herald. No relation to Frank Castle. There's a robot that Galactus used for security and, well, heraldry purposes. But some stuff gets blown up. But eventually, there's a dogfight going on between Korvac's cult and Tony's allies. However, Korvac's cult arrives on Ta-2 first. But, yeah, Tony does take some lumps. First, just before Rhodey and crew arrive. And that is where the issue ends. It also should be noted that the reason why Tony's high off his ass on morphine is, well, during a fight with Korvac he broke his neck, and the only thing keeping him alive is, well, his helmet. Is him still wearing his helmet and the armor. It's a good book. It's just, like I said, in some respects, it does really feel like they wanted to draw the story out, and that's kind of that is an issue I'm definitely having with the series. It does feel more and more like it's just being drawn out, and like this was a story that probably could have been. This arc probably could have been wrapped up by then. The 12th issue could have been the last issue of the arc, but nope, we're gonna keep going for at least 1 or 2 more. Hell, who knows? Maybe 10 more issues. We don't know. I don't know. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Spider-Woman number 15. Where we left off, Jessica's brother, Michael Marchand, had it was revealed that his girlfriend and assistant Rose had hired a bunch of thieves to steal some data from Jess. And also, when Jessica confronted the two about it, turns out that Rose had done something to Michael, and he now had all manner of genetic fuckery done to him. But the issue begins with Jess's niece Rachel waking up Jess in a helicopter, which apparently, Rebecca, not Rachel, Rebecca, which apparently Jess was flying while asleep. Sleep piloting, man, it's a skill. But Rebecca, Jess, and her dog type thing are rescued from the helicopter shortly before it explodes. And Rebecca tells Jess what happened. Basically, Rose used her pheromone powers to control Jess and get Rebecca out of the way. But it turns out that as they're talking, Jess realizes that Rose knows where Jess remembers that Rose knows where she lives. So they show up at Jessica's apartment, but there are already some thugs there, and Lindsay McCabe is dealing with them. But they appear to be, not metahuman, but they're at least, they're capable, and they're actually, they're the kind of thugs that actually cost a decent amount of money, They can actually, hurt someone. So Rebecca and Jess show up to save the day. They manage to escape. And they go to Rebecca's safe house, which is actually her room at, I want to say, ESU. And we also learn the story of Michael and Rebecca's mother. Apparently, Rebecca's mother died in childbirth. All the fuckery that Jess and Michael's father had done on them killed Rebecca's mother. But, so Rebecca's trying to do better. But she's got a private room at ESU, and, well, she's got something of a super suit put together. And while Jess argues with her, like, I'm not putting you in danger, it's like, yeah, but kind of the idea of, hey, let her make her decision herself. So, Jess and Rebecca suit up, and also her dog hybrid thingy also has some fun enhancements to wear and do hero stuff in, or animal sidekick stuff in, and actually looks pretty neat. So show it off right quick. Don't know if they make a cover, but yeah. Jess in her classic costume, and there's Rebecca in her costume, and Wolfie. And that is where the issue ends. Spider-Man was honestly, by and large, been fun. It's really just been a fun ride, and I'm here for it. So yeah, and this issue continues that. Yeah, I mean, you get your moments of peril and somewhat serious stuff, but by and large, it's still fun stuff. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Kang the Conqueror #2. Where we left off, young Nathaniel Richards has been kidnapped in the time stream by Kang the Conqueror, his future self, and young Kang experienced his first love and was also had been taught many things by his older counterpart, including things like don't love and yeah. But in the end, he young Nathaniel stole Kang's time armor and left him to die, and with the meteorite that would take out the dinosaurs. Only to end up in the future of that point, during the reign of the pharaoh Rama-Tut, also known as Kang the Conqueror. So he fought Kang's forces and failed, but he was saved by an enemy of Kang's, Moon Knight. Not Mark Spector, but rather Ravana. But we also get our first taste of this Nathaniel was just taking on the mantle of Iron Lad, and again leading an attack against Rama-Tut, but they're captured. Kang and Ravana fall in love. They're captured by Rama-Tut. Ravana's memories are taken from her. But Rama-Tut realizes he can't kill Nathaniel because it's technically a younger him, and that could cause a massive problem on the time stream. So he turns young Nathaniel into the Crimson Centurion, who leads his forces into battle against the only other being dated at that point in time that poses a threat to Rama-Tut. Ensaba-Nur, or as he's better known, Apocalypse. And The assault on Apocalypse does not go well for Kang's forces, and but Ramatut faces other enemies from the future. A quartet of them, a fantastic quartet. The FF. Ramatut is defeated, and so young Kang, goes to offer himself to Apocalypse to help Apocalypse destroy Kang, and that is where the issue ends. I guess I was not expecting an Apocalypse, an ancient Egyptian Apocalypse cameo, nor was I expecting to find out that Ravonna Renslayer Ravonna Renslayer from the Loki series was in fact a fist of Khonshu. It has been explained that there have been many previous Moon Knights, but to learn that Ravonna was one, that was quite interesting. And Kang the Kang series is definitely definitely fairly interesting. The thing with this is that while yes, technically Kang's tale is pretty much set in stone, at the same time, because of Kang's multiversal fuckery, there's about a bajillion different Kangs out there. So you could have one that, while yes, he did appeal to Ramatut saying, hey, you can't kill me because the throat you slit might be your own. At the same time, there's the possibility that Ramatut could have killed the young Kang and be like, oh, well, you're not me because I'm fine. So, but yeah, time travel kind of makes my head hurt sometimes. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Extreme Carnage, Agony. The penultimate chapter in, Extreme Carnage. So where we left off, our heroes, Silence, Anti-Venom, and now Toxin, had all finally joined together and were united in the cause of going after Carnage, who appeared to be an influential senator who was being backed publicly by the Friends of Humanity. No, that doesn't sound... That sounds... A politician being openly backed by a group that, could be described as a hate group? That kind of thing only happens in fiction. That would never happen in reality. Never. Especially not recently. But anyway, yeah. So, we find out that Gemma, we opened it weeks ago. Gemma, Agony's host, future host, is deputy communications director to the campaign, and some of the higher ups in the campaign just see her as, well, she's a woman, she's just an assistant, so she has some coffee. But at one point, she went to get them coffee during, Null's invasion. And so now, she's working with the Crane campaign, and Arthur Crane, Senator Crane's son, is, he thinks that maybe his dad's taking things a bit too far, and kind of thinking that maybe at some point he might run for office himself, and he could use a good communications director. Meanwhile, Flash, Bren, and Flash Thompson, Bren, I don't remember Bren's last name, but Ghost Toxin, and Andy Benton are in DC. Sounds like they're like it looks very much like from the intel that Flash has gotten from his friend Hank, who's been embedded inside Crane's campaign. Everything's going to be happening. Everything's going to go down at the Friends of Humanity rally, which will be happening around the same time as the president dedicating a memorial. And in fact, after they've arrived, they actually unknowingly pass by Agony's host, Gemma, but she ends up dealing with. She runs into some unsavory types who remark she should smile more. So, well, Agony comes up to play, and Agony has got can spit acid. And Agony also has the same taste for flesh that most of the others do. But Hank is briefing Flash, Bren, and Andy on what's going on. And Andy also remarks that the thing with the Hive is that she's afraid it's a two-way street. That maybe they might, if they're able to see what Carnage and crew are up to, maybe they can see maybe Carnage and crew can see what they're up to. But Agony, it turns out, keeps trophies at her home. Trophies from her victims. And in fact, the arm of one of her recent attackers is placed above her television. But Carnage contacts Agony, and Agony explains that she's only to be contacted by Carnage during work hours. But Carnage says it's not work, it's team bonding. And the rest of of Carnage's crew is there, but Silence manages to pop in on them, but discovered that Carnage knows what's going on. So our three heroes symbiote up and head out. But turns out that Carnage has made a deal with Gemma. During the big presentation, Hank tells let's Flash know what's going on, but he's cited by the symbiotes, and Hank puts it all together, or Flash puts it all together. Carnage isn't after the president. In fact, Carnage isn't Crane. Crane is Carnage's target. And Carnage is Crane's son. And he kills Hank. And that is where the issue ends. And yes, this is the next to last part of Extreme Carnage, with the finale being in the upcoming Extreme Carnage Omega. Extreme Carnage has been fun. I don't know, maybe it's all right. It's not. It's a fun read. Just I'm digging. I dig the symbiote characters. They've got fun. they have fun looks, and with their abilities they get to it does lead to some interesting artwork. I'll put it that way. But yeah. Anyway, as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.